Hi, my name is Claire Tobias, and today we're going to be diving into what happens when a woman's value is determined entirely by what she can offer a man, and what happens when she resists that role. In Euripides' Medea and Pushkin's The Queen of Spades, women exist within patriarchal systems that reduce them to tools for male ambition. Medea is abandoned by Jason for status, while the Countess is pursued by Hermann for wealth. Medea and the Countess are both constrained by patriarchal systems that value women only in relation to male desire. However, their differing responses reveal the limited, and often destructive, forms of agency available to women. To understand these characters, it is important to consider their contexts. Medea was written in an ancient Greece, where women had no political power and were expected to remain obedient within the household. Euripides' work was not widely appreciated during his lifetime because it challenged these norms and was considered too contemporary, especially through a female character who speaks so boldly and critically of male authority. In contrast, Pushkin's The Queen of Spades reflects 19th century Russian aristocratic society, where wealth and status dominate. Pushkin himself, though born into nobility and closely connected to Tsar Nicholas I, struggled financially and ultimately died in a duel over his wife's honor. His work often reflects obsession, pride, and the destructive pursuit of status. In both societies, women are valued not as individuals, but for what they provide to men. In Medea, Jason's justification for abandoning Medea reveals the logic of the patriarchy very clearly, in that this moment he attempts to rationalize his betrayal by framing it as beneficial. What luckier chance could I have come across than this? As an exile, to marry the daughter of a king? This was the main reason that we might live well, and not be short of anything. A man's friends leave him stone cold if he becomes poor. Wow. Here, Jason reduces marriage to a transaction based on status and security, not love or loyalty. His tone is calm and logical, which contrasts sharply with the emotional devastation Medea is experiencing. This reflects a broader patriarchal value system where male ambition is prioritized over female sacrifice. Medea responds by reclaiming her narrative through a powerful speech that reminds Jason and the audience of everything she gave up for him. She states, "I saved your life, as every Greek knows I saved it. I killed the snake that guarded the golden fleece, and myself betrayed my father and my home, and came with you, and took away your fear." Wow. This moment is significant because of Euripides' use of rhetoric and direct address. Medea lists her sacrifices in a structured, almost relentless way, forcing Jason to confront the imbalance in their relationship. The repetition of I emphasizes her agency and contribution, something that has been erased by Jason's actions almost completely. She then attacks Jason's character directly. "O coward in every way, this is what I call you, with bitter rest reproach for your lack of manliness." Here, Medea challenges traditional masculinity itself. By calling Jason a coward, she reverses the expected power dynamic, exposing his actions as morally weak rather than rational. However, despite her ability to articulate injustice, Medea's agency becomes destructive. The structure of Greek tragedy pushes her towards an extreme resolution, violence, and infanticide as the only available means of reclaiming power. In contrast, the Countess in The Queen of Spades represents a woman who is denied even the ability to meaningfully respond. When Hermann confronts her, she is silent and powerless, and after her death, his reaction reveals everything about how little she was valued. He felt no remorse at the thought of the dead old lady. He felt dismay for only one thing, the irretrievable loss of the secret upon which he had relied for enrichment. This moment's crucial because it exposes Hermann's complete lack of humanity. The Countess's life is insignificant to him. What matters is the loss of opportunity for wealth. Pushkin uses this moment to critique obsession and greed, but also to show how women become collateral damage within that obsession. Earlier, when appealing to that emotion, the Countess is framed through relational roles. If your heart has ever known the feeling of love, if you remember the Ecclesiastes, I entreat you by the feelings of a wife, a lover, a mother, do not deny me my request. This plea is significant because it shows how women are forced to justify themselves through their relationships to others. She cannot appeal to her own inherent worth, only to roles that are meaningful within a patriarchal framework. Pushkin reinforces this through Gothic elements, particularly when the Countess returns as a ghost. While this gives her a form of presence, it is still tied entirely to Hermann's obsession. Even in death, she exists only to serve his narrative. By comparing these two women, we see two different responses within the same system. Medea resists and gains agency, but only through destruction, while the Countess remains passive and is almost erased entirely. In both cases, the women are ignored or used until everything is taken from them. Medea loses her marriage, her home, and her place in society, and ultimately her children, by her own hand, while the Countess loses her autonomy, dignity, and ultimately her own life. It is only after the men have lost their obsession that these women are betrayed and finally recognized. Medea becomes feared and unforgettable because of the devastation she caused, and the Countess only becomes significant after death when she returns as a ghost tied to Hermann's obsession. In both cases, recognition comes too late. It is tied to loss, not inherent value. Ultimately, both Medea and the Queen of Spades reveal that within patriarchal systems, women are denied recognition until they are pushed to their absolute limits. Their value is not inherent, it's conditional. Recognition comes not from what they are, but from what they have taken from the men who have betrayed them, and what they are forced to become as a result of survival. Across ancient Greece and Imperial Russia, the same pattern persists. Women are only made visible through loss, disruption, or deconstruction. This raises an important question: whether female agency in these systems is ever truly power, or is it simply a response to having none? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.